Hey everybody, it's Mark, DoctorDeadwax here, and I'm going to attempt to address Duane's volume buying habits thread. So this is going to be a long one, so sit back and grab yourself a beverage, and I've got myself one here. This is Innis and Gunn Original Oak-aged beer. This is one West showed recently, brewed in small batches, handcrafted Scottish beer. Smooth Scottish beer with hints of toffee, vanilla, and oak. He did a review of it, and it piqued my interest, and I was surprised that my local had it, so I grabbed it because I kind of wanted to try it. So vinyl buying habits. Wow, this is a topic. I've been watching everybody's posts, and they're all really interesting. Cheers. Yeah, it's not a bad beer. A little sweet, but not quite beer enough. But hey, one off. All right, so I get my vinyl from shit tons of sources. Wow, this one's I'm gonna a lot, and because I'm just kind of working off the top of my head here. First off, I work on a budget. I don't just spend whatever the hell I want to spend. I wish I could spend whatever the hell I want to spend, but I can't. I work off a budget. It changes from time to time depending on how things are going with the family budget and stuff like that, but sometimes it's $80 a month, sometimes it's $120 a month. Occasionally it's $160 a month. Right now it's running $120, and $120 a month covers basically anything I want to buy, whether it's online or locally or at a show. So it all kind of has to get spread around amongst all the different pots, and that also covers that kind of covers my gear purchases as well. So right now I'm in kind of gear acquisition mode, but with select purchases of used gear over the years, find a cheap quality piece of vintage gear. The goal right now is to move a lot of that stuff out to pay for one big move I'm making in the turntable field. So right now I'm running $120 a month. Last month I didn't buy any records. The $120 a month, I haven't bought anything in a month because that actually all went in shipping to send stuff out to people in the VC, and actually kind of went into this month's budget with spent $160 total. So this coming month I'll only have $80. So I work on a budget. That's I think that's kind of important. There's always, give me $25,000, I can go spend $25,000 tomorrow on vinyl. I mean, you issue me a challenge like that, I can do it. Thrifts. We don't have much in the way of thrifts around here anymore. Goodwill's dead. Sally Ann's dead. We have something here called Value Village, which is called Savers in the States. They've basically killed all of the charitable thrifts. And the charitable thrifts around here can't afford the tipping fees at dumps to pay for the shit people unload on their front doorway. Somebody will drop off a can of paint, and then they got to pay an environmental hazmat disposal fee to get rid of the paint, and some asshole will drop off his car oil, and some other asshole will throw like an old scummy mattress, and then that's got to go in a dumpster, that's got to go to a landfill. So I'm basically down to Value Village. I haven't gotten anything of, I haven't got a record from a Goodwill or Sally Ann or anything like that in 5 years at least. Value Village around here, they're $2, or if somebody sees something in the back that they think is worth money, it goes up from there. Value Village I go to maybe once every 2 or 3 weeks and have a pick, and if it starts to cycle into something where I'm actually finding stuff, I'll increase my visits to say once a week, something like that. And if it starts to dry up again, I'll slow down and I'll only go like once a month, once every 6 weeks, until things cycle around. It kind of moves in cycles. It's weird, but if it's happening, it starts to happen for a little while, and then it dries. So that's Thrift. 20 Thrift records in the past year, maybe. That's it. I do local stores. We got a couple in town. We got a place called Dr. Disc. That used to be a great place at a massive dollar bin. Somebody wrote an article or something about there's a vinyl revival, and they moved all their used vinyl upstairs and jacked the prices of all their dollar records up to like $8 and $10, and alienated everybody that kept the business afloat for the past 10 years when nobody was buying vinyl. And so I don't shop there anymore. There's another place in town called Cheapies. It's got some moments. Ottavio and I went there when he came to town, and he found some good stuff there. I think he showed it in one of his videos, and I got a couple things there that day. That can be a good place. Kind of the A-list records are really expensive. You know, Beatles and Stones and stuff like that are like $25 and $50 a piece. The B-list stuff that they might know about is a lot better price there. There's another place near here called Records on Wheels. The owner lacks any sort of a personality, and he doesn't do any deals, so you know, you can bring $200 worth of records to him at the counter and he won't give you a nickel off them. So basically I only buy stuff from there I'm getting a great deal on. He's losing money on because he doesn't know what it is. If I can get it anywhere else, I buy it elsewhere. There's another guy in the next town over. I actually clean records for him. He's a really good guy, and he's got a store there, and I do a bit of business with him, and I like him on his store. It's a good store, and he's a good guy. I also travel to go record shopping. I'll go to the States. It's about, say, 2 hours to a store in the States. Or I'll go to like London, Ontario, which is about 2 hours down the road, and there's 3 or 4 stores there. I don't go to Toronto. I'm 45 minutes down the road from Toronto, or if there's any sort of traffic, that's 4 hours. If I can't drive to where I want to go and just go, I don't go. So that's why I go in the opposite direction of Toronto. And the few times I've been to Toronto for other reasons and done a little bit of record shopping, I found that it's been a little bit of an expensive place to shop. You know, when you're going into a place that you don't know, like another town or another city, you're kind of doing record stores. It's not your local haunt, so you don't know the secondhand shops and stuff like that that you would in your own place. So that's that. I do record shows a lot, 6, 8, sometimes 10 shows a year, depending on my mood, depending on how things have gone at previous shows that year. Sometimes the shows are dry, sometimes they're red hot, sometimes the dealers are in the mood to sell records cheap, sometimes they think that vinyl's gone through another resurgence, so they're kind of hanging on to their stuff. They're married to it. When they're in that mood, I don't go to as many shows. But I like the shows. When I go to a show, I hit the show, I quickly go around and I look for the things that I am specifically looking for. For example, say I want to, there's usually like just a couple things that are hot on my list. Say I want My Bloody Valentine, say I'm looking for a certain Led Zeppelin record, or say I'm, you know, a couple Red Atlantics of a couple like Zeppelin or a couple other bands that I've got my eye out for. I'll just trot around to every table and do a quick look at that, and then I start down under the tables. I usually bring a stool with me, and I sit down and I dig the cheapest bins to start with, and I work my way up in cost. So the dollar bins or the 3 for $1 bins, whatever, they get hit first, and then just as the day goes on, I work my way up to the you know, $1 bins, the $2 bins, the 3 for $5 guys, the 5 for $10 guys. So that's kind of the way I work a show. There's a couple dealers who I look through all of their regularly priced stock because I know them. They're friends of mine, and I know they always have really good stuff. But I mean, if you do enough shows around here, there's 24 shows locally a year. You know who the dealers are, you know what they have, you know to always check out the guy you don't know first, because he's the guy that's just kind of a transient seller as opposed to a show dealer. So that's the way that goes. there's one guy that I'm really good friends with that I can always trust what he sells, and he always stands behind what he sells, so he always gets everything I look through of his. You know, I look through everything he sells. And he'll call me and say, I'm doing a show in a couple weeks and I'm bringing like $40 bins. Make sure you get there early and stuff like that. Online, I'm on eBay every day. I'm always looking at vinyl on eBay. I've got several hundred things that I have saved searches on that I get notifications of. Some things I'm tracking prices of stuff I have in my collection. Some things I'm tracking prices of things I want. I very rarely buy off eBay, and I'm not embarrassed to say that I do buy off eBay. Some people seem to have this, you're not a real record collector if you're not down in the trenches. I think however the hell you get records is just great. And this, you know, I don't understand why people would be pretending like they're buying records in stores that they're showing that they're actually buying on eBay. But eBay is great. It's great, especially if you're in America. I have an address in the States that if the price, I have to pay to pick up everything I get delivered to the address, so it actually makes things cost more than it costs to ship to Canada. But if the dealer doesn't ship to Canada and the price is right on the record, and when you add all of the fees that I have to pay, the shipping fee and then the pickup fee, I'll buy from eBay for the odd thing. There are things, but eBay is always things I'm looking for specifically, and that's a lot of 90s vinyl, that's a lot of Canadian stuff that's kind of unusual or not very common. It's never like stuff I could find at a show. So that's eBay, and I like eBay. I think eBay is the price that vinyl is worth, and I use that when I deal with people that are sane enough to negotiate. Some of the stores I deal with, you know, I'll go in and they'll have like $50 on a record, and I'll be like, I think that's a little high, and they're like, well, it's, and then I'll go home and I'll find that record what it actually sells for on eBay, not what some crack addicts listed it at, you know, $50, but you know, 4 of them sold for 17 bucks, and I'll call the record store and I'll say, you know, these are actually selling for 17 bucks, and I'd gladly give you like 20 bucks so I don't have to mail them. And usually, you know, the couple stores that the people are saying that own that always works out. You know, they actually get a little bit more, and I pay a little bit more than eBay, but I don't have to pay for shipping. But that's not that much stuff. That's for like, I'm using eBay for UK first pressings and 90s vinyl. If I can find it, or I think I can find it in a crate somewhere, you know, I wouldn't buy a band record off eBay or stuff like that. So Discogs is okay. I find the prices on Discogs aren't that good. If you got a search on Discogs and it just shows up, you can get the good price. But everything that's good that's on Discogs is kind of on Discogs because it hasn't been bought, because it's moved. It's like a record store concept. It's moved from the new to the store bin to the bins. Everything that's new to Discogs that's fairly priced seems to move off of Discogs within a couple days, and that's why the searches are good on Discogs, because you get notification right away. And Discogs is a database from a company that's incredibly cheap and doesn't actually want to hire 2 or 3 people to build its database. Instead, they get users to build their database, so a lot of the information on there is inaccurate. And a lot of the information on there is good, but it's all over the map. Another place that I get vinyl from that a lot of people, I don't think anybody has mentioned, is from other kind of forums online. There's a forum called Audio Karma, and that's for kind of gearheads, and it's kind of a place for, it's not so much a place for audiophiles, it's kind of a place for like vintage gearheads. And you can go on there and you can learn how to fix your turntable, and you know, people will recommend you cartridges, and they'll, you know, people brag about the shit they found on Craigslist for 20 bucks, it's worth 600 bucks on eBay, and all kinds of stuff like that. But there's if you pay to become a member, like if you make a donation, there's like a minimum donation to be a is it a sponsor or not a sponsor? It's a subscriber. I'm not sure what the fuck it is. Anyways, you pay that price. There's actually a secret forum that isn't public called Bartertown, and there's guys on there who are selling vinyl all the time. I buy vinyl off those guys. You know, sometimes you can get excellent deals. I bought something there recently. I had mailed to Zach. Sometimes there's a couple guys on there that sell vinyl just for charity, and they donate what they sell in a year to a couple charitable organizations. So that's a good place. AudioGone is an audiophile website, and they have a vinyl selling area, and that's it's not necessarily the place to get things cheap, but it's a place to get things that are kind of interesting, and they're usually fair market or just a little bit above. And I bought the odd thing off of there, the odd jazz album off of there. Vinyl Engine is a website that's about turntables and stuff, and they have a forum that's for selling in, and I bought some cartridges out of there, and I've bought some vinyl out of there before. Steve Hoffman, the mastering engineer, has his own little fiefdom online, where there's a lot of Big Brother going on there, but it's still a great forum because there's a lot of talk about pressings, there's a lot of talk about vinyl, and there's a place that has like another one of these parts of the forum where people buy and sell stuff, and you can get some good stuff there. I bought a few things off there. A lot of audiophiles that are trying to pass things along to other audiophiles, like MoFi pressings and stuff like that, at you know, bottom of what the reasonable pricing is, as opposed to like the skyrocket eBay price. So that's a good place. Here in Canada, there's a forum called Canuck Audio Mart, and they have a classified section, and every so often some vinyl shows up on there, and sometimes it's local to me, and I buy some stuff off there. I bought some gear off there too. So that's kind of forums online. Also online, in Canada we have Craigslist, which isn't really all that hot shit up here like it is in the US. But we also have something called Kijiji, and actually Kijiji's owned by eBay, and they have Kijiji in the States too, and it's actually Kijiji, Craigslist, and eBay are all the same company now. But here it's Kijiji for like the online classifieds, and you can do searches on there, and you can receive notifications of things you're interested off of there. And I buy a lot of lots off of there. I've looked at a couple collections in the several thousands off of there. Those I've never actually bought, but I've turned one of the dealers I know onto those. I've bought collections of like 300 or 400 off of there. Sometimes people are giving away their records. I've got free collections of, you know, a couple hundred records off there, 300 or 400. Most of them are junk, usually in those situations, but every so often they're in pretty amazing prices. Or sorry, there's some pretty amazing stuff. And then other times people are selling records on there, and sometimes they want to sell everything at once. Sometimes they got prices on things. There's lots of crazy people that are asking $100 for Michael Jackson's Thriller. There's also some sane people on there that are selling vinyl at a half-decent price. So that's another venue to go. The show dealers, I know a lot of the show dealers. I clean some vinyl for them. I know them. I have most of their home phone numbers. If there's something I'm really looking for, I often call them at home. Recently I was looking for a record for Jonas, and I just, you know, I knew I would never just trip over that in the wild, but I made the phone call. I called like 4 dealers, and I had that record within like a week, so that worked. And that's always good to like foster a relationship with people who are rolling stuff through their hands all the time, because they know what you want, and they'll hold it back for you. Now, of all of those places, where do I actually spend the money? I'd say if I'm doing a show, that might get between 40 and 60, maybe $80 of my month's money. If there are no shows that month, that money usually goes to stores. And those are usually not the stores in town. Those are usually like the stores that I drive a distance to, either down to the U.S. to Buffalo or Lewiston or Rochester. Those places, they'll get a good chunk of my money. Or London. London has 3 or 4 pretty decent little record stores, and they'll get a good chunk of my money. Occasionally I'll go to Toronto once or twice a year, and that'll get a bit of my money. And the Kijiji stuff, depending on the month, sometimes it gets all of the money. That's such a crapshoot, you know. It might be a $200 collection, and I'll just go buy it all, and that'll dry me up for the month, and then into the next month. Or, you know, it might be a $50 collection, I'll go buy it, and $70 at a show, and not do any traveling that month. So that's basically where all the money goes. There's a hole in Marky's arm where all the money goes. Anyway, so that's about it. My suggestion to people is to start exploring all those avenues. I would say I buy 6 records a year off eBay, maybe 10. I buy 10 or 15 records a year off the forums. 10 to 20 a year at thrifts. Oh, garage sales and yard sales, yardos and things like that. I haven't gotten anything at those in years. They're just dead here. They're massively picked over. They're they're very aggressive. You'll go to somebody's house at 7 o'clock in the morning, there's 20 people waiting to pounce. They might have records, so that's another thing I don't. So that's it. eBay, the forums, the thrifts, but mostly shows and record stores. And, you know, the best thing I could say is form a relationship with the people who are selling good vinyl. Get to know them, talk to them, find out if they're looking for anything, because most of these guys might be looking for something themselves. Know what stuff's worth so you don't overpay. Use your cell phone to look up prices of things when you're out in the wild, and that's it. Anyway, sorry it's so long. Have a great day, and keep the record spinning.